you put for your title?
Oh, I used an avatar reference of Himbo Zebra and Code the Yoshi started an adventure at the library, and then it's just in parentheses magic store.
Ooh, that's a little too loud.
So yeah, and then all right, let's see.
Might actually have to drop that down just a smidge.
Hello.
Right, I'm gonna post that. Publish that message there.
Boop. That's better.
Nice. Ding.
All right. I'm gonna quickly just.
And then.
Wait, why do I have 2 rear gate replug?
I would not have 2. That's
Okay. I'm gonna remove 1.
so yeah, you should only need 1 because the gate is like meant to be like, oh, once it gets to this level, then it lowers it by this much or something or rather. So
yeah, see, that's what's happening. So it's getting to that level and it's lowering me a lot.
Okay.
And I've got no idea where to set it to stop that. I might just raise the threshold up to the 0.0. Just you leave it at sort of like the base threshold.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see if that helps. Like, if I get loud, like, that cut out?
There was like a gap between one thing to you then saying
yeah.
I wonder, maybe is it Discord that I'm trying to remember if it like was something that I couldn't hear even on
No, because it also picks up on it also happens during streams too, I've noticed.
Okay. I wish there was like a way of like people just give you like a script or something like that where it's like, okay, if you say these things and you're finding an issue here, then it's probably this. If you're finding an issue here, then it's probably that. Like I feel like those would be great.
Hang on.
Alrighty.
You already started the streaming thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I asked, and you were like, yeah, sure. And so it's just been like this for a while, and people.
No, I'm just gonna quickly start my one too, because I'm probably gonna do some games after being done with you for the night too.
Yeah. Ooh, what's up with the advertisement? One of non. That's weird.
Non.
Yeah, I didn't see that happening previously. I wonder if it like something in StreamerBot is like broke. Not StreamerBot, but Stream Elements is broke because I recently updated I recently updated StreamerBot, so then that way there was like a little warning thing for the scheduler.
Yeah, that's a bit strange.
I'm pretty sure it is Streamer. Like if I go to my overlays, I'm pretty sure it is like the. Give me a second. Austin Shadow, 1440p, auto poll, end credits, video on demand. Yeah, it's Nutty's Twitch ad widget that I was working with. Download and install StreamerBot for Thingamadiggy. Auto start server. Leave the address as 1880. Change from connecting to you have successfully set up. Add the widget. You must have StreamerBot running for the widget to work. Okay. Well, I do have the It's a possibility. There might be a possibility of it like just absolutely broken. Debug mode on. Appearance is normal with a line thickness. Duration 15 seconds. I don't know. If it happens again, I might get rid of Nutty's like ad widget thing because
Gonna be stirring you up, is it?
It's gonna be stirring me up just a little bit. And what's more is I have like a different thing entirely for when the advertisement starts. So hang on a second. Let's see. Full screen overlay. Okay, so it's the full screen overlay alert. So if I go to edit on this one, and I'll just
Did you see it?
It says connected. So layers, . toggle visibility, save. Alrighty. We don't just actually. So yeah, alright, so. And then if I go save. So it should refresh the thing. It's connecting, connected. There we go. Alrighty. I know my mic is unmuted, Bookie. I am in the middle of a Discord call with code, so it'd make no sense to have like my mic muted and all this kind of nonsense. So.
You mean everyone's been hearing me say very gay things? Oh God! Everyone's been hearing me say things.
Oh God.
Oh God!
Oh God. Alrighty. Ding dong habong. Oh wait, ding bink. Wait, what the? Oh, okay. So you already did it in what's my whoosie's chat, and then I'll put it in these thingamajiggies.
Thank you, Code the Yoshi, for the 30-month tier 1 sub.
Thank you, Code. Alrighty, I might be a little bit bigger when we move over to the other screen. Then let's excuse me. Okay, I am obvious. Like this is like already like a bit of a dramatic kind of big. I feel.
He's already massive.
But yeah. One of the things I did is I've added a interesting thingy-majiggy to my. I'm not too sure if this will if everyone will see this like while watching the thing or if it happens between refreshes. But the title description right now it's like a little like bare bonesy. I'll be real with you, but there is a like in the stream title just below this video. It will tell, like, it should tell you what my current stats are. So at the end of the stream or whatever the VOD should be like whatever my final height was after all the gift subs, resubs, prime, or 500 plus bits. I had not decided on like a proper like finishing number of bits to go with, so I'm just like, fuck it, just 500 or more, basically.
That's all right. I just looked at my my payout, and I actually just got over the payout limit for this month.
Nice. Good work.
So all that money is going towards things for the stream because I'm already in talks with Cosmic at the moment about doing a new overlay for probably the game screen.
Okay.
Although I might get him to do something with the chat screen too. Currently, it's going to be about £60 for that, which is about $100 Australian. So all that money plus a little bit extra is going to go over to Cosmic a little later on.
Nice. Cosmic is great, honestly.
They are an adorable being. They do some amazing stuff. For those who are over on my side as well, I'll put a shout out to Cosmic because, as I said, they are adorable.
Oh, no, wrong one.
Cosmic Wolf.
Cosmic, it's still Wolf. WOLF, is it?
Yeah. So, no, it's WUFF.
Okay, so Cosmic WUFF. Oh, I'll get it right, okay? I'll give it like a few minutes, so then that way it's like a proper like shout out thing, okay? But
I did the clip shout out. Do the clip shout out.
Oh my god. Okay. But yours is gonna be different to mine. So hang on a sec. We'll see what mine gets, because mine is like I think it's a random clip or the top clip in the last month.
I updated it.
Oh,
I
okay.
updated it for the top clip in the last month as well, so you might get the same one I got.
Is it like?
Yeah, you got the same one I got.
Excellent point. All right, I can't deny that.
Cosmic fart.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Why do I listen to you? Why did I listen to such nefarious shit?
Because stinky peeps are gonna be stinky peeps.
Yeah, but not everyone in my chat is a stinky peep.
Well, maybe they should be.
No, they don't need to. You just realized stream was muted. Oh, hi, sketch artist. Try not to have the stream muted. Lol. Hi there, little Incineroar. There's no poking thingy-majiggy because the poking thingy-majiggy doesn't work. And also, I still have not been able to properly set up the, the camera angle thing to, move me in the right positions and what have you. Because if I move the avatar, all my camera shit doesn't work anymore, especially when I go like between chatting scene to video game scene, and it would just be like a time and a half like pain trying to get all that working. So right now, like, I've only done the current change, which is making it so that when we go to the gaming screen, it's a full screen render rather than only rendering in the bottom right corner for me. So.
Also, guys, I know my wristband keeps disappearing. It's unfortunate because the wristband, when the model was ported over, was its own separate item, not attached to the thing, and keeps disappearing.
Okay.
And as I said, at the moment, I'm probably going to be looking into getting a new model sometime in the next few months, not few weeks.
Oh yeah, because I remember you were talking about it on your side of the stream last night.
Yeah, so the guy who did my model, unfortunately, has sort of gone dark at the moment. Not sure of the reason, so I'm not going to say, like, whatever reasons. I'm not sure of the reason. Could be that he's got a financial problem, housing problem, could be any number of things.
Yep. Okay.
But I haven't heard from him in quite some time, and I'm a little bit sort of concerned about that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like... I may have to consider sort of cutting my losses and moving over to getting a new model.
Yeah, because emotionally speaking, you want to like respect them and what have you, because they could be going through whatever other it may be, but like this, like the streaming thing, where you got to do like a little bit of the whatsamahoozy, a little bit of like the business sense. You have to just sort of be like, we're doing like we're gonna cut my loss here. I can't, be waiting, especially when I don't have a guarantee financially wise or anything like that, and I'm interested in trying to improve my.
Yeah, exactly.
setup.
Ooh, Jesus Christ! I just noticed my gain was going up.
Oh, how was that?
Okay,
happening?
I don't know. I think I fiddled with the thing too much.
You got.
Because I think, yeah, that's right. Because I put the thing. Yeah, because I see what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I put the recomp. So I put it up, I think, and I had it down a little bit.
Okay. Oh yeah, and then I need to. Sorry, I'm still like posting in. I need to find like a better way, or just curating where I post my like go lives and such at some point. I think.
Yeah.
So because I can't do it to like, because I think there's like 20 plus like Discord or servers I'm a part of where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna throw my thingy in there and hopefully someone will see it. I think I'm gonna have to like cut my losses on some of those and just be like, right, we are moving on from these servers. I do not communicate with them or something or rather.
Bigger.
Thank you, Sir Dragonks88 for the 6 months.
I'm a little bit worried I might have done a whoopsie on my.
Thank you, Sir Dragon,
system.
for the tier 1 sub. You made me grow again. I'm 2.5 meters. You don't have to deal with any of advertisements, and you have your option of all the emotes I have available. I hope you have a favorite.
Because like, is anyone getting any echo or any odd sound coming from the microphone?
I'm not getting an echo, and I'm not getting odd sounds. So, I think the only thing I can think of is like, are you using voice mod?
No, I'm not using any sort of voice mod.
Okay.
It happened. I think it happened when I deleted that second recomp for some reason.
Oh, probably because like since like maybe one of the recomps was always active and the other one isn't, so you may have overcompensated on the gain because of one of the recomps.
Yeah.
So yeah. Zeebs drinking emote. Yes, I need to find an artist to do more emotes. That is true.
Yeah, it was an overcomp on the gain by the looks of it.
Yeah, okay. Maybe one of the like this is going to be a very unfortunate. Your microphone is the Elgato Wave, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe one of the things to like look into maybe one of the things to look into is just maybe doing like just a rehash of it entirely. So like get rid of all the plugins, uninstall voice mod or any of those like virtual audio like things that might have been done, and then just work your way up again. Because that's what I did when I first got the Wave XLR, and I didn't have voice mod for quite a while, and the only reason I then did get voice mod was so then that way I could utilize some of the sounds, and then I had the opportunity to use,
Yeah, actually, I've just, I had noise removal off as well, which might have affected things too.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just put noise removal back on.
Yep.
That's helped.
Alright, that's good. So yeah, I have not heard it, like, say a few things with it on.
Hello, everybody here. Hello.
And then say a few things with it off.
Hello, everybody here. Hello.
I'm not hearing a difference. I don't know about you, chat, but I'm not hearing a difference. Which is
no
weird.
idea, but I'll put the noise removal on. That way it's not jumping up and down. I'm not having to sort of look over at it like, oh, is something going wrong?
Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely. Fair enough-sies. Alrighty then. Okay.
We must keep... Oh, and Kiryu. I've put back in something that you've been requesting for a little while.
Where is your chat? Code the Yoshi. There it is. Sorry, I just need to...
I put a command back in that you've been wanting for a little while. Yay!
Woo! Wait, hang on. I'm gonna... Shibore, here's your cookie. Someone head over to... code the Yoshi's chat and see if you do a taste... Okay, no, cool, there is a different number. It's just a coinky dink that, me and Kiaru had, like, the same percentage for a quick moment.
Yeah.
So, I had a moment of like, oh no, did I lead you astray with my, calculations or something crazy like that?
You ruined it, Grant! You ruined it!
After all that work, like, I remember giving you, like, the complex C-sharp one, and then it was like a, nope, this won't do. And, yeah. There we go.
Looking to redo your rating here. Bad, no rating for you. Oh, I gotta remove those because it's the thumbs up that's yours.
Lol, those are mine. And what's more is because you're subscribed or followed to me, you get to you're able to use those, which is kind of funny. Alrighty then. Oh, you know what's one of the things I need to do? All right, give me a second. I need to. All right, filters.
That's right. Grant is gatekeeping the tasty redeem.
No, I'm not gatekeeping the taste. All right, so we got the normal zoom, we got the zebra zoom, top left, bottom left. All right. I need to. So zebra zoom goes to here. I need to duplicate that and call it zebra zoom 2, and then. Alright, so what's the thing that's getting transformed? It is camera main. So
Also, I'm eating Rocky Road chocolate at the moment. Wow.
Alright, I'm gonna put me here, so get the transformation. So now it's Zebra 2, chat. Oh, you know what I should do? Hang on a second. I'm gonna make this, like, smaller. And then slap you... No. Alright, here we go. So,
I need to fuck around doing stuff like that at some point.
Yeah, the move... So the move tool is what you want. I highly recommend that. Alright, so...
Yeah, that's what I've already got.
We go to chat, we go to me, we go to zebra, which is down here, we do the normal zoom. Alrighty then, cool. And then I need to go to my stream deck and remove... So slow zebra is going to go all the way up there, or actually... Yeah, alright, so chat zoom, copy... Actually, no, hang on, what am I... Yeah, OBS filter, so... OBS, and then I grab the filter button, and this is going to be called center right. So I'm just gonna have like a whole ton more just buttons for like more like controlled sort of zooms and such. So zebra.
Yeah.
So now it should be down here, up here, going over there. Zoom out. Bottom here, guest. Bottom over here. And then there's like a slow zebra zoom. Oh my god! It conveniently goes to the himbo sign. How convenient. And that means I
Oh
can get
my
rid
god! Oh my damn!
Oh my god! And then go to the top left where night sky is.
my god,
12%.
he's a
That's not
pizza.
high enough. Alrighty then. Cool. Awesome. I now have my buttons sorted.
Your buttons are sorted.
My buttons are sorted. Chat.
Yep.
I think we're ready.
Hey Xerix, how you doing?
Hi Xerix. Xerix is over on my side as well.
He's a cheater. He's a two-timing cheater.
Oh my goodness. Oh my damn. Well, here's the real question. Hey, Xerix, who are you going to resubscribe or subscribe to first?
Yeah, Xerix.
Because if they'd liked it so much, they'd put a sub on it.
Yeah. Come on, Xerix.
All right, Xerix, come over here. He can't hear me right now unless he's looking to stream snipe, in which case I'm the superior streamer in this regard. But
Hey, don't you secretly talk to the chat?
He can't hear me. He doesn't know what I'm saying. Okay, hey, he might be an amazing streamer, but
I
you know
can't
you wanna subscribe to me, right? Hi there, Jason. You should subscribe to me, GrantZeebs, because look at this. I look how much room I have to grow. I'm not up there
I
yet.
have your live
I can, like,
feed as well.
Oh, get assed. All right, where were we? Were we gonna wait? Hang on. Oh no, we still have all our short rests. We're going to go to the shops.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta figure out why it keeps cutting out when I do really high noises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a thing. God damn, that's
Like,
quite a
I might
queue.
just do what you say, and I might just reset it to stock standard and go from there.
Yep. Alrighty. Do you want to give up Halcyon to get Gale?
Yeah, I'll take Gay for the time being.
So yeah, so if you talk
do you want to take the other druid so we can get Minsk?
Oh, yep, I see what you're talking about. All right, where is she? Because wait, she's not a druid, is she?
She is a druid.
I thought she wasn't. Is she a druid?
Yeah, Jiraiya's a druid.
I thought she was a ranger.
No, she's a druid. She's a harper.
Oh, cause like, that's right. She turned into a panther or something.
Watching gods.
I have
But I
played a
never
little
thought
bit of
I would
Baldur's
be
Gate
happy
1,
to see
Kiaru,
this
thank you
here
very
again.
much. Nothing you
Much
say
less
from
the
code
smell.
is going to be invisible to me. Thank you very
The
much.
Harper Safe House I spoke
Why am I stuck in a text chat or a chat and I can't do anything?
I don't know. Cookie for Luna. Here's your cookie. It's been a while. Hope you're having a
I
wonderful time.
might have to exit and get you to fix that for some reason because it's not letting me do anything.
Okay, that's weird.
Let me go to main menu so I can
Join
so you can try
Free
it.
up your ranks a little first.
Are you sure
Don't worry.
you don't have an update that you missed?
No. For some reason, it's
That's
stuck in
okay.
a chat because we went to grab Gale originally and it got stuck in the chat option.
Wherever you need me.
And now I just been thrown into.
There you go.
I'll find you when I need you. Oh shit. Why do you do this to me?
I don't know. You may have to go
right
back
here,
a step. Do we have one that's
care
just a
of
little bit further back?
There we go.
Oh no, there we go.
Alright, so he's being dismissed.
Sir, yes, sir.
All right, now bring me back in.
No, I'll just talk to Gale right away. So yeah,
Don't you talk to Gay?
I'll talk to whoever
How
the
can
fuck
I
I want, okay? Join me, why don't you? Alright, there we go. And now if I go to multiplayer, hit the little plus. Oh, Mr. Barbecue! Hi! Welcome back! Sorry, I didn't see the messages earlier. My thingy-majiggy wasn't scrolling very quickly enough. Another player is joining. Again, it says public, which makes like
Nah,
no
not sure why it
sense.
does that.
Alright, so there you go. There's Gale. Goodness gracious, he's level 6. And
Yeah, I'll level him up. I'll level him up.
yeah, alrighty. Hang on a second. I'm gonna level her. I'm not gonna do too much like work on our level up. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm just gonna keep her 100% to druid. Oh, circle of the land. Yep, sure. Sounds good. Circle of land. Gain a cantrip. Let's go for guidance. So then that way we have a 1d4 because produce flame and resistance. Guidance is just such an important cantrip, quite frankly. All kinds of new spells.
Light.
Arctic, mirror image and misty step, blur and silence, bark skin and holding the person, invisibility and passing with a trace, mirror image and spike growth, Melfid's acid and darkness, web and misty step. I'm gonna go with the evocation spell. Great 3 legionaries. Blur and silence. Bark, skin, and hold. Invisibility and passing without a trace. Spike growth. Yeah, I'm gonna go with those two. Yeah. Stop by to say hi and having a great night. Not to worry, Mr. Barbecue. Thank you so much for dropping in again. I will be on. If you're in the States and what have you, I will probably be your Friday, my Saturday might be a better time. Also, hi, Metal Kobold. I'd asked to join you, but you got people already. Yeah, here's the thing on Metal Kobold as well. Over here. This is like I've already organized this D&D party. Like, we're in Act 3 right now. Code the Yoshi, my boy, my friend, my sweet cheese, my good boy, has been here with me even before Baldur's Gate, even before Final Fantasy. He has been here since Titan Quest times. OG.
Oh yeah, those were the times, weren't they?
Honestly, absolute fun. And then we got to the most recent DLC where it's like, oh, you have to do Legendary in order to like continue on, and it's like, oh, it can't be that hard to just jump into a Legendary character, right? It was hard. It was painful.
It was very bad.
So we like went, all right, we'll get back to that when we like do the game again, but like with our original characters and have them go through the steps of like, oh, finishing normal, doing it again in heroic, and doing it again, and then we go through Legendary. We never got around to it.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It was getting so bad. It was just bad.
Make a target more resistant to spell effects and conditions. Receives a bonus to poison spray sounds like a cool idea. And feat. Let's have a look. Warcaster, gain advantage to maintain. You also cast a tough tavern brawler. When you make an unarmed, use an improvised or throw something, is added twice to the damage of attack rolls. I like that idea. And then, oh, she doesn't really have a lot of. I'm trying to think. When she's a panther,
Orb Blast. Gale triggers a Netherese Orb Blast in the chest, destroying everything and everyone within radius. Hey, Grant.
give me a moment.
I'm gonna blow us all to hell.
Alright, I'm going to go with Spell Sniper. The number you need to roll while attacking with spells is oh, okay, it's not that kind of spell sniper.
Please ask Grant so I don't need to swap stream on phone. Do you know the achievement? So you don't.
What achievement?
Hang on. Grant, if you get Minsk, you get an achievement really easily.
I could not care. I'm not achievement hunting while I'm playing with my friends.
No, neither am I. Neither am I.
It's not important. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for ability improvement. Wisdom.
What happened to your former ISP, by the way, Xerix?
Huh?
Apparently, something happened to Xerix's former ISP.
Oh. Yes. Intelligence.
You have a -1 to intelligence. You're not intelligent.
Range. Effectiveness with ranged and finesse weapons also affects your initiative and armor class.
I'm just gonna leave camp quickly. I'm gonna go to a store and sell some of this +1 gear that I got.
Yep. Well, we haven't given Jaheira any, like, good stuff, so... you gain 2 spells that are always prepared. Let's see. Gracious Form. Vampiric Touch. Flight.
So avoid going into there just yet.
Chant to shine with the sun or some sphere. This dispels all darkness around it.
Let's see.
Sleet, lightning. I'm gonna give her grassland. Who knows? What's up, sketch artist? They just shouted out Himbo, and I have no idea what that means. Alright, wild-shaped panther and owl bear. Nice.
I'm just gonna sell some shitty weapons I don't need. Maybe some shitty chicken.
Dominate Beast. Grasping Vine. Bark Skin. Freedom. Snap an ally out of any stun. Difficult terrain can slow them down, and they can't be magically paralyzed or restrained. Ooh, and okay, I'm gonna go with Grassland again, because Jaheira gets Polymorph, and it sounds like it's gonna be a very silly time to use it, as I think we can use it.
Certainly wouldn't be too bad to have.
Oh wait, no, I don't want to do it. I want to apply 1 there, and I'll just make a Wisdom +5.
Yeah, keep that.
Increase by 1 to commence the increase is also double for Deception and Thingies. Add your proficiency bonus to any. Alert.
Okay.
I'm gonna give her a alert, actually, just so then that way she's not surprised. I am terrible at making characters, by the by. This is why I just go with the roll of the dice at the start of the game. Greater restoration, and...
Wow, Gay has basically nothing except basic starter gear.
Yeah, like we haven't used them. Alright.
Gonna throw that on the ground over here, just out of the way.
Alright, so improved Wild Strike, getting a cantrip, can't be charmed or frightened by elementals and fade, disease and poisons also no longer affect you. Dilophosaurus.
Dilophosaurus.
Resistance. Could be good. So, also, you can't shout out Metal Kobold. You're not a moderator, Masonic. I don't know who that is. So, it's... Sometimes it can be, like... I'm gonna be real with you. More breaches, yeah, I don't know who this Metal Kobold is. Look, I might be friends with a kobold, but I don't know all the kobolds on the platform.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alrighty.
How are they supposed to know all the kobolds?
Alright, what's her bonus?
Alright, might give
What's inside?
Braces of Defense to Gay. You don't. Ooh, bless you.
Thank you. Alrighty.
I thought you were about to. I thought you were about to explode just then.
Nah, I'm good. Alrighty. So she. What's her proficiencies? So, psychic damage is doubled. Instead of dexterity modifier, adds its spellcasting modifier to attack rolls. Oh, damn, that's kind of dope. Civil militia, spears, pikes, halberds, glaives, and armor proficiency with light armor and shields. Ooh, light armor, they say. You gain 1d4 to attack against marked by true strike, fairy fire, guiding bolt.
Do you have Ring of Absolute Force in your armory?
True Love. Whispering Promise. I'm gonna just put that on them real quick. Spurred. Shapeshifters. Boon. Risky. Truthfulness. Spiteful Thunder. Free Action. Flinging. Poisoner. Quote-unquote magic ring. No. I do not see it in here.
That's alright.
Deals cold damage. Game proficiency.
Weather's been alright over here, thank you, Neko.
Your unarmed strengths deal an additional 1d4 damage. I'm honestly curious, because what that will do for her. And then there was a hat that would... There we go. Circuit of Hunting. Gonna give her that. Because now she has... Because she has Guiding Bolt that will hit at level 4. When she, like, when she transforms and does, like, unarmed strikes while in wild shape, I'm hoping that does the additional d4 of radiant damage that's depicted there.
Yeah.
I don't have any other capes to give her. She's dual-wielding scimitars, so... Let's see, I can give her Stillmaker. A dagger twisting blade is designed to nick the flesh as many times as possible, allowing its parasite... Alright, so it's a 1d4. Sword of Life-Stealing takes an additional 10.
Do you have Melth's First Staff in your inventory at all?
Is there a filter? What's this? Inventory controls. No. Alright, what am I doing? Hang on. Is there a sword button?
Oh, you're all good, Xerix.
By type. There we go. Alright. So I'm looking for a staff, you said.
Yeah, called Melth's First Staff.
Corpse Grinder?
No. If not, don't worry about it.
Something or other.
We might have missed it. Actually, here, let me just...
Glaive. Gleam Dance Dagger. Gold Wormling Staff. Oh, it gives like a fireball cantrip in this one.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I just gave him Mistress Staff, so that'll do him.
Harmonium Halberg. Oh, here it is. Melf's First Staff.
Oh, could I grab that, please?
Yep. I'll send that to Gale.
Yep.
Not proficient with martial weapons or tridents. Oh yeah, this is the one that would have like come back in it. Alright, so we got Green Dance, Rapier, a Scimitar +2. Wait, which one? So that's a +1, and that's... Alright. So... 25 +5, so already... Yep, so... 6 5. Instead of its dexterity, it adds its thingamajiggy. Ah, I see. Okay, so this is the one that does its attack modifier, or does its cantrip. Alright. Ding.
Alright. That'll give him a little bit more usefulness.
It's proficient dagger. Can't use the trident. Twist of Fortune. It's not proficient with. You already have a hat. You can't use heavy armor. You can use medium, but I don't want to limit the dexterity any further. Let's see, what's... Psionic Ward is... Oh, that's medium armor. If the item detects that the wearer is Gith, they have resistance to psychic damage. Well, they're not Gith, so that benefit is gone.
Yeah, that doesn't really benefit anyone.
Dexterity saving throws and checks. You get a +1 to initiative rolls. Added armor. Robe of Exquisite Focus. You gain a +1. Oh, but she's... Okay, so she's wearing leather armor right now. So it would probably be better giving her something of import. Half plate armor +2. You take 2 less damage, and that's with the medium. It's more heavy. Undead creatures that hit the wearer receive a something or other. You take 1 less bludgeoning. My goodness, so many options and no real sense. Shoots an additional dart whenever you cast Magic Missile. Advantage on Wisdom saving throw checks. Ooh! That will work because because she is a druid with Wisdom saving throw as her thing. Let's see. You can cast Mage Hand as a bonus action, Strength +1. Oathbreaker Night Boots. Space Hunt Boots. Immune to being enwebbed. Sparky. Misty Step.
I have a butt ton of, like, scrolls in my backpack.
Alright, I think I am going to give her... I think I'm gonna give her the Dimension Door boots. Alright. And then... When they gain 1 momentum. When shape-shifting or disguise yourself, you gain a 1d4 bonus to all checks. Oh! Yeah, no, that'll work for her. Then I just need to quickly give her a ranged thing, so then that way she's not just slumming it. Is she proficient with this stuff? Not proficient with simple weapons or short bows. Not proficient with heavy. Not proficient with hand. Does she really have, like, no means of doing... Oh, I guess she does spells. That's her ranged.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. Give her... I'm not gonna give her 19. Split. I'm gonna give her 4. And then...
Jesus Christ, I have about, like, almost 100 scrolls worth in this backpack.
When you land a critical hit with this weapon, it deals an additional 7.
I need to start using some of these scrolls, I think.
Cool. So she's got a scimitar +2 in that offhand. What's this one? Offhand only. When this dagger is wielded in the offhand, the wielder gains a +1 bonus to armor class. Ooh, that might be better for her. The Gleam Dance is a bit of a weird thingamadiggy, but it might be better. Because if it's in
really
the
wish this shit
offhand-
would auto stack.
There we go. And then put you over into here for now. Alright. Okay, so she needs a torch. Just in caseies. Lol. She's just got a glowing dagger. Toggle this to douse and rekindle.
I have like 10 scrolls of Speak the Dead.
Mhm.
Like, how many times do I need to speak to the dead? About
None,
10.
because I normally have the necklace that does it for me. Alright, scale mail 2. She's not going to be stealthing a lot. And she doesn't really have the... She doesn't have the... Yeah, the dexterity is limited to 2. So yeah, I should be throwing her in medium armor if I can. So... Let's see, so where was the good medium armor? So that's uncommon heavy. So that's the medium, but that's with the, Alright, let's roll. So many medium armor choices. You're invested with the power of the meadows and wood of the land and have the effect of bark skin, increasing your armor class to 16. You have advantage on constitution saving throw checks. Alright, that might be just a really quick and easy change. Yep. I don't imagine there's any better sort of Effective box skin. Yeah, armor cast is increased to 16, so we can't cast bark skin again, so to speak. Take 2 less piercing, 1 less piercing. So that's the half plate. Gain a +1 bonus to dexterity, saving throws, and checks, and gives her +1 to nature. Okay, why am I getting a work buddy? How the fuck do I escalate to?
Oh, and Kiri, to answer your question, I gave that to Gay. Gay read that book.
Yeah.
See? Gay read the book.
Hang on, my. So they answered it.
Oh no, things are happening.
Hang on, because work buddy doesn't know what's happening. He picked up a call. And. Oh shoot.
Oh no, Grant. Are you needing to do work stuff?
Maybe, because I'm technically level 2. Hang on. Do you mind?
Oh, level 2 work stuff. I'll keep chat entertained. Don't worry.
Alrighty then, I'll zoom you into chat and everything. So.
Don't you worry. I promise only for slight taking overs of the world. Okay. So, chat. This is how things are gonna go down. Okay. You're all gonna get food, and you can give it to me. You're then all gonna get all your money and give it to me. Because I need food, as well as I also need money. Most of you will become said food. Because people are delicious. But that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Stay away from Yoshi's mouth, everything. Oh, Benru. How little you know. How little you know. Actually, I started watching a random sequitur, sort of like into something else. I started watching The Girl from the Other Side, which is based on an anime series. Not a manga series, and I've been loving the art style of it. Has anyone else here seen The Girl from the Other Side? Like, if you haven't seen it, it's available on Crunchyroll at the moment. It is surprisingly really well animated. Its animation style and character design sort of give me that old school Final Fantasy Tactics style to it. And I kind of like that. Like, it's been really good. It's only 3 episodes, but I think the manga actually goes longer. Let me have a look. Let me just quickly hunt down the manga. Let me just have a look. Go to my Amazon. Also, if I sound a little bit stuffy, I've got a little bit of hay fever allergies. Coded Ground on a Thursday. Yeah, Angrel, unfortunately, work has been giving me a lot of Friday shifts, so I've asked Grant if we can move everything over to a Thursday in order to make things a little bit easier. Although I think that's backfired, because now Grant is all the way off doing a work check. Here we are, The Girl from the Other Side. Let me have a look. Yeah, there's a lot of volumes to The Girl from the Other Side. There's about... Let's see... if I have a look here... Issue 8, 7, 12... Actually, The Girl from the Other side manga volumes. Booby dooby 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 doo. See, there's 11 volumes plus a bonus one. So, hang on, DMs might get a chuckle out of. Okay, let's have a look. Whoop. From here. I was supposed to... Ooh. Don't worry, I didn't read it too out loud, so not to worry. No one will know your secrets. No worries, Engrel, you have fun. Hello, Nixu, how you doing? But yeah, let me show you. If you guys are over on my screen, I'll show you guys. So this is the series I'm talking about. This is the series here. The girl from the other side. Looks absolutely beautiful. Like, look at the art style in this. Hang on, let me go to the book from here. Like, if you guys are on my side, you'll be able to see it. But look at this amazing art style. But look at how well it looks. I mean, look at that.
What are we looking at?
Looking at the girl from the other side.
The other side of what?
Just from the other side.
Okay, there's Jaheira, and on the other side of Jaheira is someone.
No. It's an anime series called The Girl from the Other Side.
So yeah, so Work Buddy was like, "Hey, how do I escalate to you? There's an issue with the user, and I don't know how to solve it." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." And I didn't know how to, escalate it within our current system of like the call system, because there used to be a way of being able to be like, "Oh, no, push upwards" or something like that. But
yeah.
I'm gonna have to like research that when it's actually when it gets to start of work. But anyway, sorry, chat, for the advertisement hits and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, because I'm looking at this because I was reading because I've been watching the anime at home, and I was wanting to read the manga because I saw like the preview to the manga on Amazon, and the manga and the anime, they sort of seem to be really different in terms of story beats. So I'd love to read the manga before I continue on with the anime, because the anime is only 3 episodes long.
Grants is back as I have to watch both of your channels. Yes, Benru, you're gonna have to watch both channels at once as I try and dress up Jaheira in, the attire and such. So, because I give her...
We gotta make her look pretty.
We gotta make her strong and kicking ass and taking names. So, alright, so this is leather armor that makes him stealthy. This is
I really don't
hide
have
armor
anything
that
to be
gives
useful
him
for.
initiative, and
What scimitar she got there? Honor, the rapier and scimitar, is it? Or is it a
she's
dagger
got a scimitar that instead of its dexterity, the affected entity adds its spellcasting, which is her wisdom, which I've increased to like plus 4 right now.
Yep.
And then in her offhand is Gleam Dancer, which gives her a +1 bonus to her armor class and is permanently lit. So I think what I'll do is I'll give her like the hide stuff, because like this is a +2, and ding donk. Yeah, so this gives her AC 17 when I do it this way. So
yeah,
because the only other way is maybe giving her this one. It gives her disadvantage. It gives her disadvantage on stealth rolls, reduces the piercing, and would give her 18 AC, which might be better. Hold on.
Yeah.
She can't wear heavy armor. She can wear light armor while obscured. The wielder has, and then more stealthy.
Oh.
Slashing, initiative. Slashing and initiative. So that's all the scale stuff. That's the exquisite focus. Yeah, I think that's...
What's in this wardrobe? Oh.
I think that's the most I can do for her. She just has to deal with, psychic damage problems.
There are clothes in this wardrobe.
Why are you looking through clothes? Oh.
Because I wanted to see what was
An
in
old
the
floppy
wardrobe.
hat with some tough souls, a swarmy wayfarer, and some what's-my-goosies. There's ink in this one. Alright, so. Should be good. Should be good. Thank you. Alright, cool. So, they're fine now. Alright. We're leaving the rooms.
Boop, boop.
So,
Alright, we'll head over to Sorcerer's Sundries first.
which is right here.
So that's progress.
Yep, hang on, let me head over there with you, because,
Sol Invictus.
Oh, look at that.
God damn it.
Some light. Less,
Pretty.
Stundo. I'm gonna talk to Salamander. I'm really curious. Oh my god, I have to go
Yeah?
like, the long way around to get to Salamander and then...
Great, isn't it? These are just cantrips. I can keep this up all day.
Oh,
I'll
really?
can your trips. Let me see if what happens if I talk to her with Gay.
I mean, yeah, verily, behold and stuff. Just like Astondo the Greater says.
Uh-huh.
They're just doing all kinds of stuff.
Behold! The sacred back off, Chop. You're too close. Do you want to lose?
Yeah, no, nothing important. Okay. moving
Let me just see what happens if I talk to her with Gay.
on. Okay, fine. You go talk to them with Gale. I'll have a look at what I can use.
No, never mind. She said the same thing.
Alright,
Fuck that.
The duelist's prerogative, main hand only. While your offhand is empty, you score a critical when rolling 9. Whenever rolling a 19 more, you gain an additional reaction. Yeah, so that one's more dependent on finessing, so that would be more of a Gale thing.
Let me back in, or bring Leroican out here, you tin tube.
Huh.
You tell Leroican I went for his goddamn night song, and now he has to pay up. What are you looking at? Shit, it's you. You went looking for the night song after me. Please tell me you found it.
We did. And she... Turns out it wasn't a relic, but an Azimar.
An Asima? Hells. If I'd known, I'd have asked for more gold.
Oh, of course you would.
And theft. Don't forget, I'm the one who gave you that contract. I want my cut.
She's in my camp if you want to turn her in. You're gonna have to take her down yourself.
Still alive, is she? You better be telling
Oops.
the truth. And you better not get in my way.
You made them both disapprove of me, Grant.
Only to see who's around. But with cash like what Leroican's offering, I don't think I'll have any trouble recruiting help.
Who's
you
Little
around,
Rorkin?
mate.
Why does his name ring a bell?
Not sure. I think you kind of made them very upset with me.
Oh my goodness.
Can't risk being in open.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
damn.
damn.
Alright, let's have a look. So,
Speak.
oh, leave. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to examine them. Well, we're at the same sort of thing, but my approval with Gale is still good, so
One day I'll
it's
catch a
no
break.
fault of mine. Hi there, Clank. Examine the armor to discern its thingy-majiggy. Give me some guidance, Jaheira. Oh, that's good.
This armor is a construct animated by powerful magic. It has no soul or power of
I was hoping
speech,
there
but
would be
it
something
follows
to
the
tell me that it's
directives
like,
of its master. It feels no pain and knows no morality. It will act on behalf of its master and perish when the magic that binds it is severed.
Mind if I head inside? Alright, so no problems there.
Welcome, dear patron, to Sorceress Sundries. I am an unperson in service of the revered wizard Lorocan, proprietor of this fine establishment.
Okay, so it's Lorocan stuff.
To browse our wares, say trade. To provide information about the Night Song, say Night Song.
Oh.
If you are a city official here to collect dues, say taxes. For all other inquiries, say other.
I'm gonna be real, he sounds so much better than most of the call centers.
The provision of information that leads to the retrieval of the Night Song is worth a great deal to Master Lorocan. Do you have information regarding the Night Song?
Yes.
Please proceed upstairs for further instructions. Thank you. Please come again soon and have a magical day.
Actually, I want to see what gear he's got.
Welcome back to Sorcerer. What will it be?
Okay, I guess you're
Quick spell gloves. Cantrips cost an action, cost a bonus instead.
Why do I have people's hands?
Oh, charisma +2? Armor of Landfall. When starting your turn on plant growth surface or vine surface, regain... Oh!
Ooh, hey, a conjured crab.
I saw somebody go up to Lorocan's tower last 10 days.
Oh, I can't do anything.
There's not much left. Looks like folks heard the Absolute was on the march and bought everything
Spider?
that wasn't nailed down.
Grant, don't you step on that spider.
Oh, cool. There's lava elementals there. How long are you going to be trading with them?
Please come again soon.
Already done.
Nice. Well, they just got a potion of sleep right at the front there. Bless you.
Oh, jeez Louise.
I am an unperson. To browse, if you are a city official,
Trade.
Enjoy our unmatched selection.
Oh, cool. So we can like go to Jaheira and go surprise Teddy things. Whenever it succeeds, the wielder can use a reaction to make an unarmed strike against any attacker that misses. And then sorcerer's robes, landfall. Right, gives you +2 charisma. Nice. And then, that doesn't really do much for me. Okay, what did you just talk about?
Apparently I've activated portals.
The Night Song is an immortal being, the child of a deity.
Spend.
The Night Song is a
Please, come
priceless
again.
ruby from a realm beyond our own.
I really wish you hadn't pulled the cat. Feels a little...
Where did you go?
The Night Song is an ancient potion that allows its drinker to become irresistibly attractive to man and god alike.
Literature department. Can I help?
Oh, I gotta speak to the bookseller over here, I think, for Gale's quest.
I'm trying. Okay, you wanna talk to them? Why are you whispering?
These books are sensitive.
Thank you
Okay,
for the
not that
follow,
guy.
Furbism.
Quiet reverence.
Hang on, I'm just gonna quick save this because if it gives me the option I think it's gonna give me. Is that true? Books are sensitive?
Oh yeah, this is the chickie boo I gotta talk to as well.
By all the gods, I'd give my ear for the least bit of respect for the written word. Go act the clown on your own time. Come back when you've cobbled together some manners and are prepared to pay for the damages.
Sorry about that. I know. Actually, you can talk to her. See if she will let you do the thing to do without having to pay for shit. Alice.
Literature department. Can I help you? Psst. These books are sensitive. They prefer an environment of quiet reverence.
I saw.
You might have heard that our library has a collection of other shops.
I thought you were gonna select the book one again, just like I did.
I was tempted. I was honestly tempted.
It's even funnier the second time.
Master Leverokin was reluctant to house them in his tower. The pen is mightier than the magic wand, apparently.
Man, it's so much easier to drink water
They're
when
locked
it's
away
through
here
a soda
for their
stream
and our
added
customers'
Pepsi
safety.
flavoring.
Our finest reserve includes the Tharkiat Codex, the Annals of Karsus and Netherese Folly, Sights of the Seelie, and the Curriculum of Strategy. Do any of those...
Karsus, that's what we're looking at, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
It is said to be written by Lord Karsus himself, the Netherese arcanist who attempted to replace the goddess Mystra, failed, and was banished for the attempt.
Ooh.
Great magical knowledge lies within those pages, but not many can withstand it.
That's it. That's what I need.
Well, at least he's whispering.
The Annals of Karsus would no doubt have much to say about the crown's true nature. If only you could read them.
Oh my goodness, if only we can read them. How could we? Sounds perfect.
Buy? Books as temperamental as these are not on sale. They are secured in our vault, where none can harm them, nor can they do any harm. Consider yourself lucky to have learned of such a book's existence, and then forget about it. The Annals of Karsus are best left unread.
Stop looking at my ass, Incineroar.
God damn it.
Oh wait, no, I didn't go for the deception thingy-majiggy, did I? Add a bonus. Can Jaheira give you guidance?
Try it.
I can't give her guidance. Alright. Hey! What was the deception?
I came here all the way from Neverwinter to admire your collection.
Customers like you are why I prefer the company of books. The only way to gain access to the vault is through my office. And before you ask, no, you are not allowed in there either.
Must be some amount.
Psst. I already told you. It is locked in our vault. And with good reason.
Okay, I guess we gotta go try and what's the mahoozy? Get into the vault.
Do you think that zombie looks fresh? Is fresh good? I never know with zombies.
Fresh is a weird adjective to give to a zombie.
Apologies. I'm with a customer.
Ooh. Is this who I think it is?
Excuse me, can't stop. There's only so much shopping time left before the absolute...
Okay, cool. So, you're not important. Alright.
Who'd you think it was?
I thought it was the dude that was trying to, like, get Astarion. But he's still... Alrighty.
Welcome, dear patron. If you have information about the Night Song...
I already read that.
Await. If you are here to waste the great wizard Leroikin's time, reconsider. Let your knowledge determine your path forward.
Oh, that's a cool cookie, Noah. All
The
right.
Night Song is an immortal being, the child of a deity.
Yes, she is that. Which plaque was it? This one?
Yep.
The Night Song is a priceless ruby from a realm beyond
This one.
our own.
Cool. Alrighty, so that brings us...
Crap, I didn't think that would start a cutscene.
Oh. Ah, because he wanted a private audience. And he's trying to... Oh, please don't let this be a problem. Please don't let him be an idiot. Really?
Hold very still, Nicklaw.
Well, he's dead.
Greg's aim is much improved, but still leaves something up to chance.
Yes, sir.
All right, crank. Ready? Aim.
Poor bastard.
We have
It kind of gives me Sherlock Holmes vibes, doesn't it?
Give me a second.
Nicklaw, you may go.
It's a little... I'm a little bit behind, because it's like, oh, we have a visitor.
I see no night song. Surely you wouldn't have entered my tower without the night song in hand? Surely you wouldn't have wasted my time?
The past hour has been fun. Yes, I'm glad you think so. And yes, the Yoshi down there is a cutie patootie.
Thank you very much for saying so. Who said that?
It was... guess I know a guy.
Thank you, guess I know a guy.
Alrighty. You must be the wizard.
Fascinating. You've been to Shah's temple, haven't you? To the Shadowfell?
Yeah, can fell over. Ooh, that
You
this
speak
scared the
as
crap
though
out of me.
you've seen... Oh, your cat?
Well, can.
Okay.
Alas, I've paid for a good deal of very privileged information. Now I await the results of the generous contract I've commissioned. Answer now, or see what happens when fools misuse my valuable time.
Hang on, before you select anything... So yeah, because he's got, like, animated armor and what have you. And I'm gonna be real.
You don't think we can get out of this without a fight?
I might as well move just a little bit closer. And worst case scenario... Oh my god, he has a throne of books.
Well, I mean, when you can't have a throne of swords, you gotta have a throne of books.
Idiot. Alright.
If everyone else minds their business, I'll be fine.
Alrighty. Clearly lit area. Alrighty. Back over to you.
Alright.
I know where why do you want her so bad? What options do we have?
She'll eat you alive. Why do you want her so badly? I know where she is. I might even be willing to tell you. Well, we've got...
Interestingly, because you're a warlock, you can, like, deceive them being like, they were no match for my magic. Why do you want her so badly?
I'm growing tired of this repartee, my friend. Let us cut to the chase. Beautiful, isn't it? Worth more than your life, too. I bought it from a Kalashite warlock. There's very little of his soul left to him. It can bind a celestial to the wearer's service with a snap of the fingers.
She wants to... Oh.
This can keep her in place.
He wants to do the same thing Ketherick Thorn did.
Dumb. I'll tell her to come here just to give her the satisfaction of ripping you to shreds.
We shall see, won't we? Do as I say, and you will be rewarded beyond imagination.
Oh, I'm going to enjoy putting my foot up this guy's ass.
I am really hopeful we get to actually have a cut. I really hope there is an actual combat option where we can help What's-a-Mahuzi, because let's be real, having a wand that can bind a Celestial is just problematic, whether or not it's for Night Song or not. Alrighty, so, ding. Find the Night Song. Decide what to do about Light Song. Wants you to bring, regardless of what we do, we should tell her about Sing. She would want to know. Alright, can I just...
Yep.
Okay,
we can't go to camp from here. We gotta go back out.
Alrighty.
Another step forward.
Oh my god, the temptation to just fucking invisibility and just steal shit.
Well, there is the tome behind this door, I'm guessing, is what we need.
What door? Alright, hang on.
Oh, you gotta go through the portal to know which door I'm talking about.
Yeah. Give me a moment, because I want to try something. Speak to the dead. See invisibility. Flight. Where is... Don't type. Give me a second. There are things to do. Waterfall. Holding the person. Greater invisibility. I don't exactly want to waste a greater invisibility when I can just... Where is it? Flying, invisibility. There it is.
The lava elemental looks at you placidly. Alright,
here we go. You ready for this chat? I should have been a rogue.
Alright, time to skulk about.
Alrighty. Here we go.
Carefully now.
Gold. Oh my god.
You're gonna try and steal it off of him, aren't you?
No pockets.
It's not there.
That's fucking dumb. Alright, what do you got? Nothing? Alright, cool. What do you got? No pockets. Alright, cool. Let's just get out of here. Ridic. I thought he would have a potion on him, but he doesn't.
Welcome back to Sorceress Sundries.
Alright, well, you got them distracted. I am going to lockpick this. Give me the... Yep, cool. Needs a 15. Give me some guidance, Jaheira, while I'm invisible. Oh, did not need it at all. Nice.
Wait, all of his stuff is gone. Where did all of his stuff go?
What stuff?
Communal use, it seems.
The projection. You stole it all, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Cunning.
What did you need?
I was just having a look at what he was going to have in the store, and you've taken it all.
Look, we had a trade, all right? It wasn't taken, it was bartered. Did you want the birthright, the hat that gives you charisma?
No.
Did you want the quick spell gloves?
No, not really. I was just sort of like, why you take them?
Some of the stuff is good. Also, why are you talking to animated armor?
Trying to keep him distracted over this side.
Oh, hang on.
Out of sight, out of mind.
You've wandered into a forbidden area. You sense it might be
Sorry,
time
I thought this
to
was the
leave.
way that I'll be off then. And
Hang on, let me talk to it. Try going.
No, it's okay. Don't bother.
Always.
Did you get the book at least?
I don't know if the book was in there first and foremost.
It is in there.
Oh, okay. What's it? Oh. Also, why is my... Oh, because it's not my thing. Right, this is mine.
Not as bad as
There's a row of books right here.
How much farther can I go?
Now, hopefully, this invisibility... Nope, up here, you enemy. Alright, around there.
Grab the books up here.
I don't need any attention right now.
Sorcerer's Sundry, chess key, history of the something or other with Mistra, shout for study, the
Grab the
Wii.
key.
Yep, I grabbed the key, Sorcerer's Sundry, chess key, officious note.
So we gotta search Paula's office.
To be brought to the basement, he must focus without interruption. Note of thingamadiggy. As you refuse to speak of the following incident.
Alright, there we go. Got it. So we gotta find a way into the basement now.
I'm guessing the basement is downstairs. Also, while we're out, I'm gonna go talk to the Night Song about our fun little thing. Maybe we'll have like greater running around of the area if we can, you know, help. The Night Song's probably gonna get pissed and kill the what's-a-mahoozy, if I'm being honest with you, but it will give us the opportunity.
I'll head over with you too.
Where is she? She's over here.
Never wanted the easy path.
Dame Allen. Damn, Allen. NPC was linked to you when you walked in. She did.
Mother's milk, your visage speaks of ill tidings. Speak, ally mine. What troubles you?
A wizard called Loricon is looking for you.
Is he indeed? Pray tell, what does he seek from Dame Aelin?
All I know, he put a bounty out for your capture, and now there's a violent mercenary looking
Let
after you.
them come, and let them find me. Yet, it is better to cut off the head of the snake than to let its slithering snakeling swarm us unabated. This wizard must be held to account.
Can I tell you more?
will wring his neck until he's dead.
She's gonna get... let's take him down together.
His end will be one more strand in the great braid of our friendship.
I'm coming with you. I'd like to get a few licks in myself.
Nice.
My darling, we agreed you'd scout for the nearest Selûnite enclave this very night. Let us divide our efforts. All the sooner to be reunited.
What were they doing last night when we fell asleep?
I won't let you go alone. Who knows what this wizard might have planned?
Our closest ally will accompany me, won't you? It will be a swift and fruitful chore. Hie we to this Lorroakan right away. I am as eager to meet him as he is to ensnare me.
Yes. Cool.
Let's go, bitch.
Oh my god, she's flying with us right the fuck now. Alright, leave the camp.
Oh, she's following you, is she?
Knowing our luck, we regroup. We go through the portal on the far left, is it? Yeah, we go to the portal on the far left. Where are you?
Just about to come over to you.
Alright, cool.
I'm sure.
So, I've not found the basement door, but I reckon once we get through all this nonsense, or... Yeah, alright. There you are. Alright, I'm going through the portal. What do you think are the chances that she's in bound? Let's have a look, let's have a look.
Well, we got a cutscene, so...
Ooh. Look at him reading his fucking book. Sitting on a throne. Of course a scroll is being used as an armrest.
What have we here? A magician in a tower, hiding away from the frightening world. What are you so scared of, Magus? Not the Night Song, surely? Why, she's nothing but a relic to be purchased and pursued.
At last. There you are, my dear.
You will address me with due deference. I am Dame Aelin. And you are a whelp without honor, without pride, with nothing but a tower full of trinkets.
My apologies, Dame Aelin. I meant no disrespect. Perhaps
You're about to bind
we could
her.
start over.
I think you are being disrespectful.
I am Lorroakan. I am most pleased to make your acquaintance. And that of your fine companion, who perhaps heard I was looking for you.
You okay?
Oh, yeah, just a snotty nose is all.
Explain why.
Dame Aelin, I have discovered a device that will allow your immortality to be shared. It would cause you no harm, no pain of any kind.
It's almost like she just
You
escaped
serve
from
your
a
mother,
cage, isn't it?
Selûne, I believe. She who has blessed our realm with so many gifts. honor her by sharing yours.
You do not seek to share my gifts. You seek to poach them. You dare to threaten me with the same magic that held me in torment for 100 years.
I had hoped to appeal to your better nature. Perhaps I overestimated you. No bother. I have an arsenal of implements capable of convincing you to see reason.
Oh, I am going to enjoy putting my foot up your ass.
A man named Ketheric Thorn already tried stealing Night Song's immortality. He's dead
his
now.
Magic lives. I'd hoped you to keep an open mind, but it seems you're determined to make this as difficult as possible.
Absolutely.
I have great
Nothing about us
plans
is
for
easy.
you, Dame Aelin. And if you will not go quietly, then you'll go kicking and screaming.
Magicians and their plans for Dame Aelin. Predictable, sadistic, flaccid.
Haha!
Myrmidons! Imperatum!
I'm gonna be real, some of these elementals... Wait, you got your elementals as well, don't you?
I do, which I can summon at any time.
Alright.
As well as the fact that Gale can summon the dead, and a few other elementals.
Yep. Alrighty then. Alrighty, so...
I may have pissed off a few people, Onyx, but you know.
It is what it is. Ooh, Hellish Rebuke of the highest authority.
Oh, immune to fire damage. That was probably...
Is it only fire that would have done it?
Because I'm dumb.
Alright.
I'm a pyromaniac, okay?
Okay.
My whole shtick is setting shit on fire.
Daylight, haste. Okay, maybe not that. Alright. Nature's recovery. Feign death, conjure elemental. Let's go with... What kind of magic do you think he's gonna use? Wait, he's got Siphon. What's Siphon? Grants the affinity immunity to poison damage and an additional damage to elemental retort. Gains temporary access to chromatic orb poison, cold damage, lightning, fire. Okay. All right, so he's so we need to look into killing his elemental things first and foremost.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to be a problem.
Alrighty then. I am going to go with...
I could probably take out the Earth Siphon easily enough with a fireball or two.
Alright. I am going to use the Earth... Do you think Earth will be strong against air, or have it go against water?
That's very hard to say. Give it a try on either one.
Hang on a second. Acid is... So they're resistant to acid. They don't get any weakness. Immune to poison, lightning and thunder resistance. Immune to poison and fire. Okay. No weaknesses sounds bullshit. Alright, where's my conjuring? Conjure. Let's just go with Winter's Breath, slam, and can mete out cold punishment upon foes with its fists, smoldering, erupting cinders. Alright. I'm gonna give the water one a try. Alrighty, so they got initiative 4.
And I thought we were going to be friends.
And then... Shove? It's incorporeal, of course it is. Alright. Quarterstaff or something. Immune to burning, it's saved because of Hellish Rebuke. Oh, it has Hellish Rebuke is the thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, an attack of opportunity because something came in range? Say it ain't so. Nice. And it's wet. Oh, that's That's why it doesn't have a... Alrighty. Here's what's gonna happen.
Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna poke you right in the bum and you're gonna fall over.
Yes, something along those lines. Alright. I have a key... So I have 5 key points, and I recharge on short rests. I'm gonna save the key points to... like, once we get out of this little area, I'm gonna try and go for... Nope, attack of opportunity. Alright, so we're gonna need to deal with 2 different air things. 1... 2... And flurry of blows, this shit. Yeah, it's... Oh, halfway. So far, so good. And then Crank isn't too strong. Crank is not very strong right now, which is good. But can just crit hit shit. Alright.
Alright,
What is with... Oh, it looks like a fucked up fish when you... And it's got an AC of 18. Nice. Oh, I see. So then that way, like, if the earth thingy-majiggy moves around, then you have to get past... Oh, I see how. Nice. Cool. Alright, so water's gonna move. Yep, so you can use cold.
Of course he can fucking fly.
No verticality? Oh my god, that was quite a bit of lightning. Alrighty, let's do what? Actually, not water on water. Let's go with the water on fire. Let's go with my original plan. Let's try and, like, open up our thing. Hey, he's frozen! Holy shit. Noted. 6 to 11 damage, 16 to 40. Okay, I'll need to remember multi-attack for next time.
You summoned a water, didn't you?
I did summon a water. So the water elemental does, like, frozen shit. Nice. I would probably multi-attack the fire thingy. Because they're only frozen for, like, 1 more turn. So if we can get them out of the way...
Yeah.
Yeah. Fire and poison. Yep, cool.
I need to drink a fucking potion before I die.
Goodness gracious. You're nearly dead.
Yeah, that kind of fucking hurt just a little bit.
Just a bit. Your Azier could do something. Probably... Let's see. Oh, Searing Sight.
Really easier.
Strength check and AC 20.
Hi, Nicola.
Nicola is just not having a time, but yeah, we're gonna need to keep an eye on the dame. Why is she making ridiculous movements like that? Oh, well.
Ooh, good thing I healed.
This one is slowing me down.
Let's see. So at this point, I pull off one of these. 1. 2, 3, 4. Alright, who else in our party is low? 5. Wait. You 5. Why can't I select the target? Oh, because there are summons, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I can't... Fuck it, Gale. Target is out of sight. Oh, okay. There we go.
Oof. Oh no, wait, you did heal the Azar. I think because you already selected him.
Oh. That's annoying. Alright. Okay, so she can do some movement. She can't go too far. Yeah, action is a wild change thing. I'm gonna get her out of the way.
Understood.
Just so then that way we have movement area.
Yep.
Ah, fuck you. Alright, I'm gonna have a lot of enjoyment. Oh, don't you fucking dare. Nice.
And it's dead. Don't forget, your unarmed strikes are actually stronger than your strikes with a weapon.
I'm pretty sure they're not. They're not yet at that point. Alright, I'm gonna...
Need to find a way forward.
Get out of there. Wait, why am I encumbered? Oh, that's probably why.
Why are you cucumbered?
Why am I encumbered? Alright, so... Send that to camp. Send that to camp. Send that to camp. Alright, note to self.
Oh, Grant.
I gotta use some of these scrolls.
You really gotta stop being a,
Do you mind if I... Let's see. Ooh. Banishment to another plane of existence. I'm gonna send... Oh my god. Okay. Deflect. And throw it back. There we go. I'm gonna send the Scroll of Banishment to Gale. And see how effective it is on the fire dude. Or actually, no, maybe the earth, because the earth has like a really high AC. Hopefully the Scroll of Banishment does what I think it does.
Alright, who do we want to use it on?
Probably the Earth Miriam if they're in range, because their AC is 20 and they're full health. What?
No.
Banished, and it has 2. So that did not do what I expected it to do.
No idea. I think it's a concentration thing.
Oh, it's a temporary banish. God damn it. Alright.
Well, even a temporary banish is enough to get it to...
Alright, so this does 16 to 40 damage. So... Oh, I can't reach there. I'm gonna do it to the water thing that is right next to you. And then... Put him under threat there. Alright, what's your move? Yay, no longer has the aquatic or the... Sorry, he has aquatic and scorching, but he doesn't have the earth siphon, so might be worth, like, trying to do some, like, just absolutely decimate them. Oh my god, Jaheira, why?
Be dead?
Nah, Jaheira just needing to do death throws. We bring you along to one adventure, and your AC doesn't help. Ow.
Oops. Sorry, I didn't realize that was a all around. I was targeting him, sorry.
Oh, he's right over... He's all the way over here. Target who?
You said he's no longer got Earth, right?
He no longer has the earth or the air. He just has the aquatic and scorching. So he's immune to fire and cold. Let's see. So gains +1 to DC. When attacked, the entity can draw on siphon to cast elemental tort. Your grasp of evocation as Titan, you can add your intelligence modifier to your damage rolls with any evocation. Create pockets of safety within your evocation. Succeed their saving throw against these spells and take no damage. Spell resistance. You have advantage on saving throws against spells. So yeah. Meanwhile, the Azir is over there. You can probably run past the Earth Thingy-Madiggy Oh wait, the Aesir only does fire stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Darn. Nice. Excellent, that's the air one out of the way.
Actually, that was water.
Oh, water. You can't, don't Hellish Rebuke, it's not worth. Alrighty, alright, so they're successful in the dust saving throw. Alright, items.
Oh, I shouldn't have eaten that chocolate. That's come back to bite me in the bum.
I'm still feeling on my breath the burger from yesterday. Ooh, transform a creature into a harmless.
I just had one of those double stacks from KFC. The Zinger double stack, way too spicy for me.
Ah.
Like, I normally like the standard Zinger burgers. They're good. You know, because they got a bit of a kick, but they're not like too kicky. But the other one was just not too much kick.
Alright. Let's see. Can I cast it? Ah, god damn you, he's not in range. Alright, here, hang on. So I'm gonna move forward a little bit.
Step forward.
I'm gonna try the Vicious Laughter. Cause there we go. Alright, 20%. Okay, maybe not him. What about...
It won't work on any of the others because they're not human.
Yeah. Human making them attack the creature closest to them. Hold monster. Phantasmal killer. Ooh. That's another 20%. Dominate person. Allies cannot be dominated. Otto's irresistible dance.
How irresistible is that dance?
100%.
That's an irresistible dance.
Ow!
Ah! He threw it back at you.
That's fucking... I didn't know that was an option. Fuck.
That's kind of hilarious.
Annoying. That was a waste.
I mean, annoying, but hilarious.
Good work on the magical person. Also, hi there, Sage. Good evening to you. Hopefully you're doing alright. Alright. This is the water elemental. Fuck, we're gonna do it on the fire thing. What? There's like no damage to that thing. What the hell? No, just gonna end this thing there.
What do you mean that target can't be animated?
Don't forget, you still have concentration, so... Because... Yeah, the earth thingamajiggy is doing its thing.
Wait, so Mikalor wasn't a real person?
Lightfoot halfling. Dead.
That's weird.
They are humanoid. Maybe they just don't want to be revived, or who knows. Maybe it's more reserved for, something.
Who knows?
Alright. So he's do his turn, then it's your turn, then it's... Yep. Hey, that's your move! Oh, he's got his earth.
Did he just steal my thing?
He stole your thing. He still has Scorching Siphon, so do not hit him with fire. So, it's this thing that's responsible. Yep, cool. And the earth thingy-majiggy is back. What's transmuted to steel? Increased by 2, but its movement speed is reduced by 6 meters. Ah. Do you know that Nimrod used to be like an amazing hunter in the Bible, but because of the use of like Nimrod in Looney Tunes, we think that Nimrod is an idiot of a hunter. Like crazy. It'd be like if we like just opinionated Einstein as like all like if we didn't have the history of Einstein, we just think, oh, if someone was called an Einstein, they'd be called like the opposite of a genius. Alright, what's her move? Why did you put... You wasted time on that. Okay. Earth Elemental. He can do things. Also, probably isn't all that great. It's a shame that the mirror image did nothing to save Gale from the fireball. I'd multi-attack the fire thing. Alright. There we go. And then... I'm gonna see if I can... Stunning Strike. Yep, I can Stunning Strike. Let's just, you know, not have him do reactions and shit. Oh,
Ooh, he did not like that, did he?
No, he didn't. He reacts to... So... 10 and 5, so 19. So I did 15 damage. And then... Yeah, because it's 1d8 bludgeoning plus dexterity and wisdom. And then... Yeah, no, my staff does the same amount of damage nearly, so... Alrighty, I can't do any more. Alright, you are going to do... What? I can't multi-attack again? Available next turn. Ah, okay. Fine.
We're almost at max level soon, too.
Oh, is level 11 max?
No, level 12.
Ah, okay. Alright, cool. So he's frozen. How long is he frozen for? Utterly enthralled in ice and is incapacitated. If it's dealt bludgeoning, thunder, or force damage, the ice shatters, ending the condition. Alrighty, so... And then he can't help. Where's the elemental? Where's the earth one? Oh, the earth one is right there. Okay, noted. That was just a movement. He's bleeding. Nice. Idiot. He just looks at the wizard and he's just like, fuck you in particular. Fireball! Alrighty. You got a move code? Got an idea? Got a plan? He's
I
still...
look like I haven't have an idea or a plan.
I'm guessing because he's Fire Siphon, you're not looking to do that kind of stuff.
No.
Hmm.
I'm wondering if I have any...
Scuba diving sounds really cool there, Sage. I have an aunt that does scuba diving, and she did a bit of that when we were over in Hawaii one time. It was like a very... It's something I feel like I would want to try at least once, because I like the idea of being underwater and checking out cool things, and if I can do that without having to like swim back up to the surface,
what do we got?
I reckon I'd have a fun experience. What do you got?
Not a lot. What do you got?
I got a bottle of Soda Stream with a Pepsi flavoring and a bottle of water on the other side.
That'll do.
Cool.
That's all I had.
Nice. Well, the fire thingy-majiggy is frozen, so it'll be Jahira's turn right afterwards, and then followed by myself. And I am going to just be wailing on him as best as I can. 29 damage. Cool. Hopefully I do not die from this. Alrighty. He's trying to do something, obviously. Oh, we're gonna need a... Alright. Jaheira succumbed to death. We're going to need to, like, use a scroll when we have a chance. Alrighty. Here's what's gonna happen. I am going to hit you.
Time for
really
some bloody
hard.
work. I need to hold on.
And then... That killed him!
You pushed him off the cliff and killed him.
Yes, he had one thing. He had 1 health to him, and I was like, push! So...
Fucking just, Lion King. Long live the king. Push.
So, goes to show how different history books make things work properly. Alright, so I have a scroll to revive Jaheira. We just need to find where Jaheira is. Earth thingy-majiggy is still, like, halfway. Fire is only 10 health away. So the Aesir is probably best to use on the Earth Elemental. Gale, depending on... Oh, hang on a second. What can I give Gale? Let's see. Scroll of Flesh to Stone. Fire Shield, Firebolt. Scorching Ray, Sleet. Thunder Wave, Vampiric Touch, Stone. I'm just gonna send that to camp. Ooh, at the beginning of your turn, the ring activates and heals you for D4. Honestly, that is pretty decent. I am going to swap that. Oh, I can't do that right now. Cantrips that cost an action cost a bonus action instead. This effect can be used once per short rest. Man.
That was the only thing I could think of. I did a thing. It worked.
Nice. Oh my god, so close. There we go, that does it.
Leroican. You who would see me caged. You who would purchase my submission
God.
with profane gold.
This
Let
guy.
every wicked magus, every vile murtherer, each slaver and misery merchant see. Dame Aelin is watching. She is indomitable. And when her face lights the shadows of your wrongdoing, you are broken by its...
Whoa! She just baned him.
Yeah! She just fucking bent him over like Batman!
Damn. Oh, hey, stuff.
Like, damn, girl.
Wizard's note. Though I appreciate your attempts to contribute to our popular series, I'm afraid we are not accepting reader submissions at this time. Furthermore, I would recommend our fact checker, Hope Candor, for your personal employee should you wish to publish this volume under a different name elsewhere. Well.
Like, holy shit!
Oh,
By the
hey,
way, we all got a level
How is she
up
alive?
from that.
Speak.
I resurrected her.
Oh, okay, thank you. How are you faring
You
without
think
the Harpers?
me lonely? In truth, I'm unburdened by numbers. We're free. With
Not
allies,
important.
every bit as peculiar.
Give or take a few.
Yeah.
Ask.
Alrighty. Short rest that.
Enough to keep us going. For
Nice.
now.
Oh, hey, we can level up. Look. It says my health is 69.
Nice.
Nice. Alright. I can learn a spell. I can learn Flame of the Phoenix, which is quite literally just Fireball.
I mean, whatever floats your firebolt.
Alright. Ooh, Ride the Wind. Oh, that's another 4. Are all of the... Okay, so... Transform. Gain the ability to fly until long rest. Hell yeah. Chromatic Bonds.
Let's see.
Nice. And then Jaheira goes to level 80. She knows all kinds of spells now. Good for her. Hopefully she won't die as quickly as as last time. Alrighty. Anything else of note? I have an idea.
Yeah?
Oh, okay, that works, that works. That was not what it... Okay.
Not what you were
Code,
planning?
check this out.
Yeah? Oh, there's a place down there.
Yeah, so if you jump to the table, then you can jump to the bookshelf, and then you jump to the second table. My Arcana failed, so you're gonna need to...
Hang on, I'm leveling up quickly.
Alrighty then. If you have a way of leveling up your Arcana, do tell. We both failed our Arcana.
Let's see.
This calls for careful footwork.
Ugh.
Security. Below. We've... Giant strength. Nice.
Don't mind if I do.
Your spells and attacks ignore resistance to damage type of your choice.
You're gonna make it so it ignores fire resistance.
Ignores fire resistance.
Sounds fair. Alright, so... There's a button for vaults.
Step carefully.
Oh. Good to know. Roll. Cool. Costs nothing to do it. Nice. Alright, so that's why they wanted me to, you know, do Arcana checks, because there's, like, things here. Ooh, Wall of Ice. Yes, please. So many things. And then there's a barricade here. That won't let me attack that.
No, my... Oh.
Better be careful not to trigger that thing.
Alright, so that's clean up.
Crap. This place is more dangerous than I thought.
Actually.
Okay, so there's traps here.
Hi there, Crash. Oop. So, a weave button to clean up. And then...
Watch how you go. There's a trap.
Oh, thank goodness. Don't... And then... Alright, so there's a display case here. giving a scroll.
Vaults?
And then...
Vaults.
Let's see, will I take any damage by jumping down here?
Oh, I pressed a button. Oh. Sorcerer's Vault.
Oh, that's what it does. Ye Folly of Karsus. Did Karsus, mystic, autodidact, in all his vain glory, disdainful as ever of received wisdom, proclaim that, crisis-bound, he would safeguard the magic tapestry of all wizardry by supplanting the failing weave god Mistral with another immortal guardian, wiser and stronger of mind. Who could that be? Asked the Netherese, amazed, and Karsus gave them reply, who but I? Have I not mastered all spells that are known and diver others that are not? Have I not forged this crown, thrice finillaed, and that shall convey into my brain mind all the enchanted wisdom of Netheril? Yea, indeed, and of Mistral herself? It shall be so. Canst thou but wait, implored Lord Shadow, until... Cool. I'm just gonna take that. Ooh, a wizard's task list. Oh, disarm that real quick.
One more roll.
There we go.
Alright, Grant, your turn. Come down here and press the button of weave and unlock this chest.
Task for which I require 8. Sweeping out the main hall, removing Nemesis's personal effects, placing such valuable tones as the annul into Karsus's vaults as safekeeping, etc., etc.
Grant, push the button of weave.
Okay.
Push the button, Grant. Push it.
Nice. The knights. Alright, lockpick. Nice. Crit. Look at that. Critical success. Mine. Thank you.
Of course you're able to get it.
The Red Knight's final stratagem. Before her time as an exarch of Tempest and goddess of strategy, the Red Knight was a paladin, most devout. She toured enemies the world over as both student and teacher. Oh, advertisement time. Sylvester Crystal. have you seen the Star Wars the advertisements from Chile?
I have.
I love them.
This is hardly the time for idle banter.
I love it because, for those of you that aren't aware of it, the what is he talking about? No, stop talking to him. Stop talking to him. Yay, we got a reward. We read the Red Knight's final stratagem. Divide and conquer. I didn't know that was a thing. A scroll of artistry of war summons the apparition of 6 master strategists. Okay, we probably want Gale to absorb that, so we can use this more than once.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
So, where was I in my training? But yeah, so the in Chile there was, you know, the whole advertisement of, oh, we can just walk over here. Okay, I was worried that we couldn't. You good? Trying to unlock all that?
Yep.
So during the all right, fine.
Nope.
Let me. You want me to unlock it for you?
Yes, please.
Alrighty, then let me unlock it for you. Observe as I do this without even double checking. Look at. Oh my god, I definitely needed that advantage roll. But look at me go. Done. And the wooden chest gives us supreme healing, flying, and glorious vaulting.
Do you happen to have that book on you, the Corthus one?
Yep. Give me a few.
Can I just grab that off you, please?
Right now I'm checking this other room. My perception failed.
By the way, you might want to have Jahira press the button and come down with us.
Why? Why are we all failing this perception check?
Because we're all dumb.
How are we this dumb? Vaults. Weave.
Haven't sprouted roots just yet.
Alright, I'm just gonna F5 really quickly, so then that way... Don't... Hey, Sunbeam. Cool.
Storage and sorting of scrollwork, parchment, and tomes.
How did we all fail this shit?
What have we got?
How do we all fail perception checks?
Easily?
Alright, so... Restricted area.
No entry to vaults. Trespassers will be disintegrated. Master Leroican.
Oh. Wait, what did you open?
Let's
the chest.
Why did the chest open?
No idea.
Alrighty,
What to do? Let's be on my way.
You...
Speak.
Oh.
Yay!
What'd you get?
Gold.
Hmm. Temptation to attack the door is strong.
It's got a name.
Ramazith.
I don't like that. Hang on. Corsus.
Oh, that's why.
This is more dangerous than I thought.
There's a door here called Corsus.
Elminster... Corsus... Wait. Did you not see the plate that was there?
Yes, I was trying. I thought it was something to read.
Open. Lockpicking impossible for whatever reason. Fuck you.
Right there. Plant your feet with care.
What did you just do?
I just went into a place called Silverhand. And...
That's cause the door... Oh, shit!
So now there's Evocation, Illusion, Abjuration, Transmutation.
You destroyed that plaque. The metal plate. We can't get through the door of Corsus now.
That sounds ridiculous.
The plaques are what put us through the doors.
Is that what does it? Okay. Good thing I quick saved. Why would they call it a trap?
To make you think that it's a trap?
Darn. Fine. I suppose. Alright. Dink, donk, hadonk. Seva Christial.
Hehehe.
Alrighty. 100%. 100%. There we go.
Lead the way.
Can't give up now. Need to find a way forward.
Alrighty. Lockpick. Passed all that. Alrighty. Continue with our adventure. And then...
Watch how you go.
Right there. Plant your feet with care.
Oh. Yeah, because that's what the marble plate is.
Oh. But that one made you go through, though. Oh, no, because that one's unlocked. Okay.
There's Ramazith, Elminster, Silverhand, and Carsus. The animals must be behind his door.
Cool, but as you are no doubt aware... Alright. Let's go Silverhand.
Hang on, that did something.
Right there. Lend your feet with care.
So. Bring Gale over here. Ooh, you know what? It's probably evocation.
Trap there. Lend your feet with care.
Gate, invulnerability, and foresight. And wish.
Nasty surprise. Caution is warranted here.
Gargoyle heads. Okay.
Breathe quiet. Move with care.
So, what happens if we go to wish?
Trap there. Lend your feet with care.
Well, that would have hurt you.
To Elminster.
Unlock hereby the path to the Elminster Vault.
Nice. Alright, so that gives us the Elminster... Just want a little look. No, don't pickpocket. Also, who's... Alright.
Which one's the Elminster Vault then?
I'm gonna try this foresight one. Which puts me back to Silverhand. Which opened, so that's Ramset here. Elminster has been unlocked and has like a moonlight thing. So if we go over to Silverhand again, we now have the option of illusion, abjuration, and evocation. Yeah. So if I go... Oh. There we go. Sorry, I'm just disarming shit. And then behind us is transmutation. Don't mind me, just, you know. Transmutation puts me back here. Alright, so back through Silverhand again. I don't know how we're going to deal with that Moonbeam, I'm going to be real with you. Alright, so we did Evocation last time, so I'm going to go through this Abjuration door. And see where it takes me.
Oh, the Moonbeam did nothing.
Yeah?
Alright. Step carefully. There's a trap.
Silver.
There's a display case, so you want to find a key to the... You want to find a thing to the vault for that. Oh, that might be it there.
Yep. How is my invisible eye not helping me find this shit?
Because reasons?
Alright, let me just wait for this.
Yep, Carsus is opened. We're heading in.
Alright, give me a second, give me a second. So... Because we already went through...
Got
the,
it.
okay.
The Annals of Carsus. The preamble to a civilization's downfall, committed to parchment by the very hand that wrought its destruction. If the crown atop the Elder Brain was truly forged by Carsus himself, this book will confirm it. All we have to do is turn the page.
Give me a minute.
Okay.
Alright, so yeah, so we went through Abjuration first, and then now let's go to Illusion. And then Illusion gives us Silverhand and Cars. Ah, okay, so we've already unlocked all of them. Nice.
Let me know when you're ready to listen in back to the conversation.
Yep, give me a minute, give me a minute. I'm just heading into the Carsus Vault. Did you already go
I saw
through
you
the...
actually.
Did you already go through the Whatsmahuzi Vault?
No, I'm still waiting for you to listen in on the conversation
There
to
we
figure
go.
out what's going on.
I'm not sure I want you delving into this. Why'd you give Gale the book?
That devil Raphael was telling the truth. There's no doubt. The crown of Karsus is what's controlling the Elder Brain. And this is no mere journal. It contains Karsus's original plans for the crown's construction. His designs for godhood.
Yeah. Didn't this crown kill Karsus?
Not exactly. It was what he did with it that sealed his fate, and, for a time, that of magic itself. The crown was merely the means. The book states that the crown and netherstones were originally one construct, seemingly sundered at the moment of Karsus's downfall. Cool. If we can collect the crown's setting and the 3 netherstones, and with the correct invocation of certain spells and gestures detailed in these notes, I think I could reforge it. To every end you can imagine, and 1,000 more beyond.
This sounds
Just
like dangerous
think of
territory.
The power of the gods in mortal hands at last would be free of doctrine and dogma, confined only by the limits of our imaginations. I promise you, the gods will never grant us such a blessing, no matter how much we worship and adore them.
You worshipped a god one time.
I don't know. Ao does not look kindly on gods meddling in mortal affairs.
Ooh, striped.
She may have no choice but to stand by and let events unfold. Even with the fate of the world at stake, she had little more to offer me than the means of blowing myself up at a more convenient time. She's done nothing to help us. Mistra wanted the brain obliterated because of this crown. She fears a world in which such power is beyond her control, ready to be claimed by Karsus's successor.
This guy is crazy. You know exactly where such overreaching leads.
Not until this moment.
What are you
I can't
doing,
help
Code?
but beginning to see such a destiny unfold before me. Powerful as he was, Karsus lacks some advantages I can lay claim to.
This is a terrible idea.
I know Mistra intimately, and I carry a fragment of the weave itself within my body.
Mistra is like fucking
Karsus
thousands of
achieved
years
many
old.
things.
Gale was like 16 when he
Never
first met
managed that.
her. He
Long
knows
road lies
nothing.
ahead before the crown comes into our possession. All I ask for now is that you do not dismiss this possibility out of hand. Please, at least think on it.
I urge you to stop this.
This is no passing whim. Trust me. If I can obtain that crown, it will affect us all.
Code, what do you think is going to happen when he gets the crown?
Fun things.
Future that I'm thinking of. Can't rely on anyone else to do it for us. For now, we've learned all we can.
Absolutely powerful.
Whatever comes of this,
Yoshi.
we cannot allow the crown to be reforged in Raphael's image.
Yeah, agreeable.
A devil wielding the might of Karsus. It would be the end of everything.
Well, who would you prefer to wield it?
I would prefer
Raphael or Gale.
None, preferably. Like, we're talking the power of gods, and the last time it was utilized, it nearly ended the world. It is not.
That doesn't mean it would do it this time.
It's a great paradox.
Oh, I found a hammer for you.
Ooh, chalice.
I'll give it to you.
Marigons. There's like all kinds of things here. Also, I'm gonna need to hang on a second. Ding. Wait. Armor of the. Oh yeah, I need to send that to camp. Foe breaker. I do not have proficiency with moles, I'm sorry to say. But it is interesting that it ignores the bludgeoning resistance.
Yeah, but you could give it to Karlak.
I could, you are right. Hopefully she will, you know, utilize it. Alchemy pouch. Alright, so send to camp.
Oof.
Send to camp.
Although, Grant, I think I may have to call it soon. I'm not feeling too crash hot tonight.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's not your fault.
Oh, no. Well, will you be okay? Will you be okay next week?
Yeah, I should be all right. It's just, oof. I think with all the wind and rain and all that blowing at the moment, it's sort of done my hay fever in.
Oh, okay. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. Well, do you have like?
Why don't we get back out and get back to camp first?
Yep. Sorry, I'm just grabbing like all the other nonsensical things that was like in and around here, because...
Yeah. I think the portal will get us back out. Actually, I didn't go through Elmister's. Did you want to quickly go through that vault?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, we can go through that and call it a night after the vault.
Yep.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, let me just... Yeah, actually, okay, now that I'm, like, paying attention to you, that was a wheeze there. Do you have any medication?
Yeah, I do. I got strong Finnegan.
Do you have soup? Ooh, the opulent chest has been revealed.
I don't drink soup.
Pyro Quickness Hat. When you deal fire damage with a leveled spell, you burn yourself and gain an additional bonus action this round. I'll send this to you.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Oh, what's in the vase? Oh, nothing important. Cool. What is this dude's, like, prerogative, honestly?
Well, it's his prerogative.
Alright, lockpick. Tempting to smash the book, but let's not do that. Oh, that's bullshit.
Haha. Thank you, Xerax.
Try again.
But look at this
I should have sent guidance. God damn it. These tools.
You were having really bad luck.
There we go. I needed at least 11, annoyingly, and if I used guidance, it would have like helped. The pages are covered in esoteric symbols and strange ruins. Some indescribable, but some strangely familiar. Your eyes are drawn to one page describing a long-lost book.
Wait, that's the one in Gale's possession at the moment.
The Necromancy of Thay. There are secrets of life and death known only to the Red Wizards. Committing such secrets to parchment is a risk they are loath to take, lest the unworthy gaze upon them. Who better, then, to guard their secrets than the spirits of jealous dead themselves?
Hang on. You reading that? I wonder.
Much of the book, but its most powerful secrets are guarded by indecipherable.
Damn. Okay, never mind.
To look upon it is to risk madness but the wise who can thread the life between will find knowledge by the precious mortals. Alright. The rest of the entry details the precautions and risks associated with reading the text, but lays out a clear path to unraveling the secrets contained to its tome. Pick up.
Let me give that to Gale.
Sorry, hang on. Sort, type. Where did the book go? Shit.
Try that yellow item there that's in your inventory.
They're all yellow.
Down. You were just hovering over it. Don't forget, there's a bit of delay. There you go. Alright, now let's get Gale to read it again with the other book in hand.
The book radiates power, but the words you read in the codex echo in your mind, guiding your eyes safely across the page. The once indecipherable.
Ooh, what's the saving throw?
Dangerously familiar, promising unholy power to those who.
Oh, okay. Let me just F5 that. Not enough.
Ah, just under. Alright, use an inspiration. Come on, give us at least a...
That does it. That should hit 20.
Bada boom.
Bada bing. Bada bing, bada boom.
The strange glyphs, you can feel the book resisting. Ghostly voices whisper at you from the dark, probing and fighting your mind.
I love how we're all wearing silly hats
Your will
now.
is iron, and you brush past these shades of the past, devouring every secret the book has to offer. You see now life and death are malleable as clay, to be bent and reshaped by your will, by
your power.
But as you close the book, a nagging doubt whispers in your mind. What consequences will there be for calling the dead from their rest?
Nice.
Fucking none, because it'd be awesome.
We just completed like 3 different journals, apparently. Gather your allies. Isabel, Dane, the strange creature is thankful that he... Arabelle, freeing yourself of the parasite is proving more difficult than we should be on the lookout for powerful allies. Halcyon, Volo. Oh. Steal a Githyanki egg. Wizard of Waterdeep. He's read the annals. Using this knowledge could attempt to reforge. The Pale Elf. Received a concerning message from the Harpers. We should talk to her. Rendezvous turned out to be trapped late by doppelgangers. We should see what Jira wants to do next.
Hide completed. Haha! Look at that. We now... Oh!
Oh. Nice.
I just summoned 5 undead thrall.
There's only one right here. You summoned 1.
Hold up. Wait for us to move.
Where the hell is Jaheira? Oh.
There's 5 now. By the way, where is Jaheira?
She's with us again.
Looking ahead.
I just had to move
Alright.
back up again.
Do you think this portal is going to get us out?
Let's give it... Well, here's the thing, is like, I want to try and get... Oh, we probably can't get back to it again from here. Yeah, alright, so using this portal... Where does this take us? Oh...
Is that because I summoned the ghouls? I think it's because I summoned the ghouls.
Let's go through this bigger portal.
I think it's because I summoned the ghouls. Yeah, it's because I summoned the ghouls. Do we want to F5
No,
or F8?
Come on. Let's just get through this portal here. What the fuck? The portal isn't available anymore.
No. Okay, let's F8. Let's F8.
You do know we're going quite a bit back. Oh wait, no, we're not going that far back because it's just
we're just going to the book.
We're just going to the book. Okay, cool.
We'll try the roll again. I won't summon the ghouls this time unless we need them in battle.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
I just wanted to see what was going to happen, so...
I love how it was like we just read like a demonic book and you're like, friends! Again! Again! Ridic.
I mean, I'd be that type of guy that'd make the deal, that would summon Satan just to have a bit of a, you know, holla holla.
You would just be like, does this work? And Satan would just be like, you just gave up your soul just to crank call. And you're just like, to be fair, I didn't know it would be a crank call. So yeah.
It would end up as a crank call at first, and then it would be bounce, chicka, bounce, 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 like, ow. Well, that depends if, you know, the devil comes up as hot daddy or, you know.
Alright, there's the book.
The book radiates power, but the once indecipherable glyphs now feel
roll again. Come on, we can do it. We can do it. We got it. Yeah.
Power to those as you pass the.
Yada 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 yada.
Cool. There we go.
All right, now let's head back. You'll have to get Jaheira to come back too.
Yep, no, because Jaheira is over in a different spot, but
All right.
Oh yeah, because this was the alternative. I'm glad we checked that room. All right, and then from Silverhand, move them over here. Grab Jaheira, and send her back through the invulnerability door. Hopefully she doesn't trip anything.
She trips everything.
There we go.
Have a lot on my mind.
Alrighty. Okay, so we have only. All right. I am. Ding.
All right, go through the portal.
Wait, before we do, I am going to send this to
Nope,
Jaheira.
nothing happens. So I didn't end up.
Stop me yet.
All right.
You've set foot in a restricted area. A swift.
There we go. I'm going through this
All
portal. Because I want to, like, try and... Yep, cool, the portal is still available. Oh, look. The dame is still here. Plus, I want to go... Because, like, there
Oh, yeah, we gotta talk to her first.
The Firehead fool is dead. Yet as I stare upon his corpse, I feel... sadness. Why?
What kind of sadness is it?
A gripping in the chest. As though I'd lost someone. Something. Paladin's fatigue, no doubt. You were excellent in battle, as is your way. And I am proud to fight at your side. I will catch my breath, then to camp I will bring my bones. Moon Maiden be with you.
Do you think she broke her vow?
Don't know.
Because she mentioned paladin. I didn't think she was a paladin, to be real with you. You take advantage on saving throws against spells. You gain +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, and it gives you a +2 weapon enhancement. This one might be good for you.
Hang
on, I'm just gonna quickly...
The only thing is, though, the one that I've got deals more damage with my cantrips and stuff like that.
How does it deal more damage?
Your cantrips deal additional damage equal to your charisma modifier. At the beginning of the wearer's turn, the robe activates, granting them temporary hit points.
Wait, where's the... There they are. Because I wanted to try and...
Actually, what's the staff?
I gave you the staff.
You know what? I give the staff and the robes to... at least the robes to... Gale.
Not you? You're not gonna use them?
No, mine are better.
Hang on. Disarming this. Don't... There we go. Continue. Alrighty. What's this one? That's security. I don't want to activate that one. That one is below. Alright, F5. I'm going to try the below button and see if that gets me to where I'm trying to go.
Alright. You're going to blow the button, are you?
Alright, so there's 2 arcane barriers. And then, so that goes above.
Alright.
Display case and a candelabra.
Okay, so it looks like there's a staff or something there.
Oh, there's a display case with a key.
What's that?
What just happened? Is reduced by 5 while cursed by the Tharkanite's warped arcana.
Hang on, I've got a remove curse scroll.
Give me a second. Alright, so I picked up a key for like high security or something. Lever? Oh. Shit.
Hang on, I'm coming to you.
Give me a moment. Alright.
What did you fuck up?
Give me a minute. I'm just gonna see if I get a good roll. That's not a good roll. One more inspiration. This would have been an Arcana check, by the by. Hey, critical success. So most likely the other one is an Arcana. There we go.
Which button did you press?
I went for the one that said below.
Clean up.
Below.
Below.
The Marco Heshir. All right. Do you have like a bonus to Arcana shit?
I can try, yeah. I mean, you want me to touch the lever, or...?
Before you do, F5. Do you... Alright, hang on. Let me just double check if I have any... Let's see. Charisma, Ring of Regeneration... Make it easier to succeed. Death saving throws... Don't really.
I mean, at the moment, my build works around having the glaive because I can utilize the draconic element to give it fire damage.
All right. You want to give it a try to the lever now.
Okay, this is gonna be fun.
Oh.
And it failed. Let me do one more roll. Oh, no inspirit. Boom, baby!
Oh, you did it?
Second try.
Nice. Alright, you want to pick up the rope?
Oh, rope of the weave! That is what I want.
Hey, nice. What does the rope of the weave do?
You gain a spell. You gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC. Whenever the wearer succeeds a saving throw, oh no, they gain health. Okay, so no, this isn't the one I wanted, but it will do for Gale though.
Once again, throwing Gale shit. Alright, hang on.
Or even it will do, because we can give, because I can give the shelter of Cutler to Will and give Gale the weave. And go from there.
Alrighty, I just cleaned up my inventory the tiniest bit. The chest is empty, and the weave. Alrighty then. We want to head back up above?
Yep, just give me a second.
Also, what was the other staff like for you?
Yeah, it's good, but as I said, my my setup is I've got a lot better stuff for that.
Alrighty. I'm gonna F5 and I'm gonna see what happens when I use cleanup, okay?
Yep.
Nothing happens. Oh, wizard hat, nice. What's with these?
So, how did you get back up?
There's another button that says above.
Ah. So what did cleanup do?
Cleanup didn't do anything, as far as I can see. There's a mage hand out here. And there's just this giant fucking... Oh, there's a button out here.
And what does the button say?
Give me a moment, give me a moment. I'm walking around to check the button. And the button says...
Artillery.
Ooh.
I mean... I do like a little R with my artillery. What did we shoot?
It hasn't said. Oh, that's what the mage hand was doing outside. Okay. Alright, can we... Hey, we can go to camp from here. Nice. Also, where's Shahira? Why is she... Oh, she's over there. Okay.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Cool.
Time to press.
Yay!
That was, something. Wait! Elminster's here.
Hmm? Oh, hey.
Elminster?
Oh, hello, my boy. No, don't mind me. I'm just enjoying a lung.
Do you think he knew about us going into the vault? Or...
Yeah, more than likely.
Aroma, though perhaps not one worthy of bottling. I hear you've been browsing in the most esteemed of emporiums, sorcerous sundries. Indulge my curiosity. What wonders
Is
did
he like
you discover there?
Like a devout follower of Mystra?
Yeah.
You don't seem all that surprised that Gale's alive and well.
Oops, sorry guys.
I trusted he would be sensible enough to exercise caution in this matter and to seek the truth. By now, you are aware of the evil we are up against. Karsus' pestilent crown, the very tool with which its eponymous creator unmade an empire and magic itself. Perhaps now you understand what is at stake here, my boy. Though what Mystra asked of you was extreme, it was not without merit, nor demanded lightly.
What are you saying? Or rather, what are you not saying?
Mystra knows you defied her, Gale. Well, of course she knows. She's Mystra. She bids you come to her holy shrine in the Stormshore Tabernacle. There, she will grant you an audience at last.
I'm curious enough to make the attempt. All right. An audience with the mother of magic, it is.
Perhaps.
Damn, we're going through Gale's story quite quickly.
Perhaps that should have been your mission right from the start. Trust in yourself. Trust in the weave. If you are willing, trust in Mystra. There is a conclusion yet to be written in this sorry tale, Gale of Waterdeep. And yours is the quill that will write it.
Okay. What does Gale have to say on the matter?
All it took to get Mystra's attention was to learn how to reforge an artifact that once destroyed her. It's obvious when you stop to think about it.
What do you... Wait, how could she possibly know we read a book? Hasn't she got more important things to worry about?
The Weave is a highly sensitive, magical network threaded through all life.
Hey,
On
what a
this
dapper
plane,
hat.
Any shift in
It
Mystra
is.
energy,
I look
no matter how
badass.
small, is akin to a beacon, alerting Mystra to its cause. Opening a book, like the Annals of Karsus, was akin to us shooting a firework spelling, "Look at us, Mystra," directly into the skies of Elysium. She knows. This is a conversation that's long overdue on both sides. I owe it to her to hear her out. Come what may afterwards. After you.
You're damn right after me.
Alrighty then. Ding. Gonna throw all my gold in there. I'm gonna throw every single thing.
Oh, the other Chicky Boo hasn't returned yet.
Aelin left to face that wizard, Leroican, was it?
Yes.
Even after all she's been through, she thinks herself unstoppable, invincible. It all feels like recklessness to me.
Oh, we probably could have asked her.
He can harm her, just as Ketherick did. She'll survive it, but...
Thank you for the hyper himbo.
Bigger. Any of us. And for longer.
Bigger.
I wanted to help her.
Bigger.
But she said she fights better when she
Bigger.
knows I'm safe. I understand.
Bigger.
I suppose.
Bigger.
Bigger. I feel
Bigger.
the same about
Bigger.
her.
Bigger. Bigger.
Bigger.
I'm going to help her in her fight against...
I'll rest a little easier if you do. You fought well against my father. I imagine a rat like Leroican will be nothing in comparison.
He was a lot easier.
He was.
Alrighty.
Moon Maiden, hear me.
Huh.
Sent to camp. Sent to camp. Sent to camp. Sent to camp.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Sort by type. Alright, hang on. Is it still... Yeah, it's still putting them like ages off away. Grab that. all the way over there. So we're never really gonna give up on you, are we? Put you right up at the top. There we go. Now I can deal with my potions and what have you when I have to.
Now you can deal with your potions and lotions.
Sent to camp. Sent to camp. I'll figure this nonsense out another time. Ah. Ugh. Yeah.
What happened?
Just slight burp and it just tasting onion.
Oh, it's one of those. Yeah,
it's just like I just ate a burger and it's just like yesterday.
It's one of those burps that's got that really strong flavor to it.
Yeah, and you're just sort of like, yeah, don't want to deal with that shit. All right. Yeah, I'll fiddle with this nonsense, like probably off stream or something like that, looking at gear and such. Do you mind putting? Oh, actually not. If I open the thingy diggy up, you'll just end up as like there, and then looking at chests and what have you. I'm gonna save it here.
Yep.
So, cause yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna call it an early night and go to bed.
Understandable. Not to worry. The game's being saved right now. Quit. Get the music playing again. Alrighty then. I am now like 2.8 meters tall. I was almost 3 meters. I probably could have gotten there with one, like, with either 500 bits or with like one more sub. Shame.
Oof. Close.
Close. So close. And yet so far. Alrighty. So yeah, we need to have a look at who we're gonna go and raid in this get-go.
Let's see.
You want to go for someone different? Someone big? Someone small?
I haven't gone into Nikki in a little while. They're a Japanese furry. They do a lot of animations. They're currently playing Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Animal Crossing New Horizons. Nikiciy?
Yeah.
Wait, are they English speaking or are they Japanese speaking?
They do speak a little bit of English.
Will they know? Do they know what a himbo is?
Probably. They've drawn enough of them.
Alrighty then. Alright. So if they're okay with that.
Oh, actually, what are they doing? They're currently closing down the app. They're doing something. I'm not sure what they're doing.
Should we really be raiding into someone we're not able to fully understand because neither of us speak Japanese?
Probably not. Let's see who else is available.
Yeah.
Mega's doing Lethal Company.
Ah, that's always like that group thingy-madiggy. Who are they playing it with? It doesn't say who they're playing it with.
Ray the Tiger Cub is doing some art. Ray does a lot of vor and big guy art.
Have you seen Kofu?
I have seen Kofu, yes.
Does Kofu do vor? No, they just do.
They just do arts.
They just do arts.
They do arts and they do farts. Well, except the farts, they do arts.
Arts. Okay.
They're currently blendering.
Oh, that's ZBrush. So they're doing. All right. Well. All right. Do we want to? All right. Do we want to go? So wait, who was Ray? What was their name again? Ray
Tiger Cub.
Ray Tiger Club. Ah, yes. So
Cub.
How did I? Tiger Cub. Oh yeah. So I got so. Yep. Found them. So
they're also a big fan of Cosmic Stream as well. So
that I see why. Also, hi there, Stripe. I have to Mo. Thank you. Is it Mo or Moo? Thank you for the follow, by the way. Oh, they're drawing vor. That's what they're doing.
They are drawing vor. They're drawing lots of vor.
Is this why you want to raid into them? Because they're drawing lots of vor?
No, they're just also a really decent artist, a nice person to raid into, and they're a lot of fun.
Alrighty then.
Plus, I haven't raided into them in a little while, so.
Not fair enough. All right. Well, I've never raided into them before. So yeah, I'll go raid into them with our classic Himbo raid message. So that's gonna
Of course, I'll do mine as well, my classic one as well.
Nice. Alrighty, hopefully should be good. So Code, I hope you get better. I hope your hay fever tones down and such like that. When's the next time you might?
Probably gonna take a really strong Fenurgan. Sunday, I'm gonna do some Cult of the Lamb.
Nice. Alrighty then. I will be back online Saturday. I'll be going through more Final Fantasy XIV. And otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. I'm sorry for jumping out of the stream earlier on to help out at work. Code, thank you for joining in. I hope you have a wonderful evening and rest easy.
I will. Thank you very much.
Alrighty then. And to the rest of you, I hope you have a good afternoon, morning, evening, and night. And otherwise, hope to see you again.
Bye all.
Bye. I'm gonna raid in like 5.
Bloop.
Bloop. There we go. And then let's see. Ding dong.